This is a story called Kris, the boy who became Father Christmas. Kris is a 6-year-old boy who has very loving parents and a beautiful 2-year-old sister. However, one day little Elsie suddenly becomes very ill and her parents decide to take her to the doctor. The thing is, they can't take Kris with them because they don't want him to get sick too. So they leave him home alone. Before they go, Mark, Kris's dad, gives Kris his knife and his watch. He shows him on the watch what time they'll be back. After a whole day they haven't come home and someone goes to their house to tell Kris that they've died in the blizzard along with his little sister Elsie. As you can imagine, little Kris is devastated and also very frightened because it means that he's now all alone with no one to take care of him. The couple who tell him about his family tell him to pack his bags because he's going to stay with them for a while. However, they couldn't look after him long term, so a town meeting was called. The woman who'd been looking after Kris said, "Me and my husband can't afford to look after Kris long term. However, we will look after him until a permanent place can be found for him." Then the town pastor asked, "Is there anyone here who can look after Kris on a permanent basis? If so, please raise your hand." No one raised their hands, so little Kris said, "It's okay, I'm a big boy now, so I can take care of myself." "You're not old enough to look after yourself, Kris," said Edith, the lady who'd been looking after Kris. Then her husband, Carl, said, "I have an idea. Why don't me and Edith look after Kris for a year, and then another family takes him for a year, and we do that until he's 18. "That's a good idea, Edith. Hands up who's willing to do that. "That's a good idea, Carl. Hand up who's willing to do that," said the town pastor. Everyone put their hands up and then Kris went back home with Edith and Carl. During his stay with them he became very close to them and their kids, especially their little boy Timothy, who was just a couple of months younger than him. Kris had a keen interest in woodwork, and that Christmas he made loads of wooden toys and left them on people's doorsteps. As planned, Kris stayed with Edith and Carl for a whole year until the following Christmas when he went to live with another family for a year. They had 5 children of their own and Kris secretly made wooden toys for them and left them on their doorstep. He did this for all the kids in town, but of course nobody knew it was him. During the year, Kris helped the family he was staying with by doing chores and working for them. However, come Christmas Day, it was time for Kris to move on to the next family. They had 2 children of their own. Again, Kris made toys for their kids as well as all the other kids in town. Kris worked for the family by doing chores to earn his keep. He spent all his spare time making wooden toys to give all the other kids at Christmas. The next Christmas it was time for Kris to move on to the next family, but unfortunately no one could afford to take him on. There was an older man called Jonathan who said he would take young Kris for a year. Kris was terrified of the man, but he had no choice but to go with him, because he had nowhere else to go. When they got to Jonathan's house, he told Kris that from now on his name would be Brat and to call him Master. The next morning when Kris got up, Jonathan said to him, "Get to work and clean the workshop, Brat." "Where's the workshop?" "You're standing on it, Brat." The workshop was downstairs in the basement and the door was built into the floor. Kris went down and when he got there he said to Jonathan, "There's nothing to do here, Master. It's clean and tidy. Look around you, Brat. The place is a shambles. Now get to work. Kris started cleaning up the workshop, but then Jonathan grabbed him by the back of his hair and said, "Do the job right, brah." "Okay, master." That night when Jonathan was in bed, Kris went into the workshop to work on his Christmas toys for the other kids. However, Jonathan woke up and came down into the workshop. "Just what do you think you're doing, brah?" "I'm making toys to give to the other children, master." Jonathan snatched Kris's knife off him and broke it in half, and Kris said to him, "That was my father's knife." A couple of weeks later, Kris was down in the workshop making more toys for the kids in the town when Jonathan came down and said to him, "How are you going to deliver all these toys on your own on Christmas Eve, brah?" "It's okay, master. I'll manage tomorrow." "Well, how many more have you made?" "There's 3 big sacks full, master." "Well then, I guess we better go and deliver them, hadn't we? Before we do, I have something to show and to give you." "What is it, master?" Jonathan gave Kris his knife back. "My father's knife." "Thank you, master." "Well, I figured that I was the one who broke it, so I should be the one to fix it." "Thanks, master." "You're welcome. You see these pictures here? These are my boys when they were around your age." "I didn't know you had kids, master." "Yeah, they're both grown up now and they live a long way away from here. I haven't seen them or heard from them in many years." "How come, master?" "Because they chose to move away and not to keep in touch." "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, master. Your time with me is almost over. If you want so, you can stay with me on a permanent basis. As from now on, your name will be Kris and my name will be Jonathan." "I'd like that, thank you, master." "I mean Jonathan." They both laughed and then Jonathan said, "Well, it's Christmas Eve and if we're going to deliver these presents before tomorrow morning, we best get to work." "Okay, Jonathan." They went round delivering the presents and managed to finish before morning. As time went by, Kris worked in the workshop more and more each day and Jonathan taught him everything he knew about wood and the different types. When Kris was about 25 years old, Jonathan's sons came and persuaded Jonathan to go and live with them. As he was leaving, he gave Kris a key and said to him, "The house and workshop are now yours. This key is for a box underneath my bed. What's in there is yours to do what you want with." Kris thanked him and then they said goodbye. When Kris went inside, he went straight into Jonathan's room and found the box under his bed. He unlocked it and inside there was a load of old expensive jewellery and loads of money. When he counted the money, there was over £600 in change and notes, making him quite rich. That day he made a decision that he was going to use the money to make his own presents and hand them out to children all over the world. His full name was Kris Nicholas Kringle, but he decided to call himself Father Christmas. He went to the local store to be measured up for a new suit. He insisted that the suit be red with white fur round the edges, a hat to match, a black belt, black boots and a huge red sack to put all the presents in. He then bought 7 reindeers and called them Dasher, Prancer, Rudolph, Vixen, Comet, Cupid and Donner. His plan was to train them to pull his huge sleigh and to follow his every command. However, at first his plan didn't work because the reindeers had other ideas. When he commanded them to pull the sleigh, they all ran off and it took him ages to round them up. After several attempts, he finally got them to listen to his commands. To make them fly, he sprinkled them with magic dust and by Christmas they were fully trained. On Christmas Eve they travelled all over the world, dropping off presents for all the children. The only people that knew it was him, The only people that knew it was him was his best friend Timothy, who was Edith and Carl's son. Timothy had children of his own, and one day his little girl Anna went missing because she didn't believe her parents when they told her that Kris was the one who delivered all the presents for the children at Christmas. When Kris found her, she was asleep, wrapped in his Santa coat on his sofa. They talked, and Kris explained everything to her and swore her to secrecy. They became close friends, and Anna kept his secret. About 12 years later, when Anna met and married Paul, she told him about Kris, and he also kept the secret. In time, Anna gave birth to a daughter of her own, and 2 years later she gave birth to another daughter. They were named Mary and Elizabeth. As time went by, Kris became known as Kris Kringle, which was his given name. St. Nicholas and Santa Claus, as well as Father Christmas. He travels all over the world delivering presents at Christmas on Christmas Eve to all the children. He will never die because he's a magic man who will live forever and ever. His reindeers are magic too, so they will never die either. The end. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you like it. Bye. Love yous.